The station sat in a quiet part of the galaxy, far from the big trade routes and loud battles. Not many ships came here anymore. Most who did were either lost, broken, or hiding. Carter liked that. He was a simple human mechanic who wanted peace. He fixed old ships, cleaned broken systems, and minded his own business. He lived on a small cargo hauler named Blue Echo, parked at the edge of Dock 12. Life was quiet, slow, and kind of lonely. One gray morning, a strange ship arrived. It made no noise, had no markings, and looked half damaged. Slowly, like it was unsure of itself. Carter didn't pay much attention at first. Ships came and went. But then he heard the whispers. "She's blind. A princess here. That can't be true. They say she was thrown out. Rejected by her own kind?" Carter looked up. A small group had gathered near the entrance hatch. Standing in the center was a tall, thin figure wrapped in a pale silver cloak. Her head was down, and her steps were slow and careful. Beside her was an alien guard who looked more annoyed than protective. The girl moved her hand gently in front of her, feeling the air. She was blind. Carter felt something inside him pause. She didn't look dangerous. She looked lost. She looked sad. The guard spoke in a deep, rough voice. "This is Ilari Former, heir of the Xanari throne. She's blind and no longer of use to her people. We leave her here. Her care is no longer our duty." No one said anything. No one stepped forward. The guard dropped a small case beside her and walked away. The girl stood quietly, her head still lowered. No one helped. No one offered even a kind word. Carter sighed and walked over. "Hey," said gently. Her head turned slightly toward his voice. "I'm Carter. What's your name?" "Ilari," she whispered. "You hungry?" She nodded slowly. He picked up her case and offered his hand. "Come on, my ship's not fancy, but it's warm and has food." For a second, she didn't move. Then she carefully reached out and touched his fingers. Her hand was soft, cold, and trembling. Carter led her away, ignoring the curious eyes behind him, back on Blue Echo. Ilari sat on a small couch while Carter prepared a simple meal. He gave her warm soup and soft bread. She ate slowly, as if not used to real food. "You can stay here until you figure things out," he said. "Why?" she asked. "Because no one else did." She didn't reply. She only nodded. Days passed. Ilari didn't talk much, but she listened. Carter noticed how careful she was. She remembered where things were after touching them once. She walked slowly but never bumped into things. And at night, she would sit by the window and face the stars even, though she couldn't see them. One night, Carter asked her, "You miss them?" "The stars," she said. "Yeah. I used to watch them from the high towers of my home. I knew every cluster. Now, it's just darkness." He felt something twist in his chest. She was more than just a lost girl. She was someone who had loved the stars deeply. And now they were taken from her. Carter got an idea. The next morning, he started working. He dug through his old parts, pulled out forgotten tech, and began building something. He didn't tell Ilari what it was. When she asked, he just smiled and said, "You'll see." Well, feel. He worked every night after she went to sleep. Wires, maps, audio signals, scent markers. It wasn't perfect, but it might work. While he worked, Ilari slowly began to open up. She told him about the palace she was born in, the war that broke her people, and how some believed she had no worth once she lost her sight. She wasn't angry, just tired. Like someone who had carried pain for too long, Carter never pitied her. He just listened. And when she dropped something or lost her balance, he didn't rush. He let her try again, and she did. After 2 weeks, "The thing was ready, Elrai," he said. "One evening, I want to show you something." "I can't see," she reminded him. "That's okay." "You don't need to." He led her to a small room inside his ship. The lights were dim. He closed the door behind them. "Okay," he whispered. "Stand in the middle," she did. Then he turned on the system. Soft sounds filled the room. Musical tones from every direction. Gentle breezes from hidden fans moved the air. Scents floated in lavender, pine, ocean mist, and warm lights danced across her skin. They weren't bright, but they pulsed gently, like stars breathing. Ellery gasped. "What is this?" she asked. "I call it the stellar garden," he said. "Each sound is a star system. Each scent is a nebula. The warmth is starlight. It's not real, but it's something." She reached out, and the music shifted. Her head tilted slightly, following the sounds. Her fingers brushed the air. She moved slowly in a circle, smiling softly. I see them," she whispered. "I can feel the stars again." Carter watched her. And then something happened. Her skin began to glow. Not bright, not sharp. Just a soft, warm light, like starlight under her skin. It spread from her hands to her face, to her chest. Her silver hair shimmered gently. Carter's eyes widened. "Alari, you're glowing." She stood still, breathing slowly. Her eyes, though blind, were full of peace. "This," she said, "this is the first time I've felt alive since I lost my sight." Carter, for the first time in a long time, felt something too. He had brought home a girl everyone else gave up on, and now she glowed like the stars she once loved. After that night in the stellar garden, things began to change. Carter noticed that Alari smiled more often. She moved with more confidence, touching the walls and floors like she was claiming the space as her own. Her steps, once soft and unsure, now had rhythm. She no longer looked like a lost soul. She was starting to feel like someone who belonged. Carter kept watching her glow. It didn't happen all the time, only when she was calm or happy. It wasn't bright enough to light a room, but it gave her a soft shine, like she was made of warm moonlight. It made her look less fragile, more alive. "Do you know why it happens?" Carter asked one evening. Alari shook her head slowly. "I've never heard of it. Denari don't glow, at least not anymore. Not anymore. Long ago, the first Zenari were said to be connected to something greater, a star being, or spirit. I don't know. They could touch the sky without flying, they said. But those are just old stories." Carter leaned back in his chair. "Maybe they're not stories. Maybe it's real. Maybe you are connected to something." Ilari turned her head toward him. "Why would it happen now?" Carter thought for a moment. "Maybe because you finally feel safe." Ilari didn't say anything, but her soft smile said enough. A few days later, they went out to the market deck. The spaceport had a small trading zone where aliens from different species sold food, tools, and parts. Carter needed a new converter for the Blue Echo. Ilari wanted to go with him, even though the crowds made her nervous. People stared, some pointed, some whispered. "That's her, the blind one. Why is she glowing? Is she dangerous?" Carter kept his hand near hers, but didn't hold it unless she asked. Ilari walked tall, even when others stepped away like she carried a sickness. She didn't react to their words. She had heard them all before. Now, she walked through them like wind through dry leaves. They reached an old trader named Grask, a thick-skinned reptilian with a kind heart and one eye. "Ah," Carter Grask said, smiling. "Heard you've been hiding royalty in your ship." "Hiding," Carter replied. "Just offering a home." Grask looked at Ilari. "Princess, it's an honor." "I'm not a princess anymore," she said softly. "Maybe not by title," Grask said, "but by how you carry yourself, yes." Ilari gave a polite nod. After buying the parts, Grask leaned in close to Carter and whispered, "Others are asking questions. You should be careful. Questions about her, not the glow. Some think she's part of something old, something powerful. And powerful things attract the wrong kind of attention." Carter's jaw tightened. "Thanks for the warning." On the way back, Carter asked, "Do you think they're right? Do you think someone's watching us?" Ilari nodded. "I can feel it, like eyes behind every wall." That night, Carter installed the converter, but his mind stayed restless. He couldn't sleep. He kept checking the scanners. Once he saw a strange blip on the edge of the system, but it vanished before he could lock on. Didn't tell LRE. In the following days, more strangers came to the station. They didn't act like regular traders. Ships were too clean, their uniforms too quiet. They asked questions in the bars and corners. They never smiled. One evening, Alari stood near the window, her face turned toward the stars. "Someone's coming," she said. Carter looked up from his workbench. "How do you know?" "I can feel them." "Not like before. It's different. Cold. Sharp. Like metal sliding into light." The next day, a council ship docked. Galactic Council soldiers stepped out, tall, armored, and quiet. Their leader was a woman with silver hair and sharp eyes. She introduced herself as Commander Vera. "We've received reports." She said calmly that a dangerous entity is aboard this station. "There's no danger here," Carter replied. "Heard of a Zanari girl? Glowing, showing signs of ancient power? Such things are not to be ignored." "She's not a weapon," Carter said. "We'll decide that," Vera said. They demanded to see LRE. Carter refused. They warned him. Still he refused. When they left, LRE sat beside him, her hands trembling. "Don't want to be taken," she said. "I want to go back to cages and tests. I don't want to be feared again." "You won't be," Carter said, voice firm. "Not as long as I breathe." He started upgrading the ship. He knew. Blue Echo wasn't built for war, but he could make it harder to track. He added shielding layers, scrambled codes, and hidden sensors. It wasn't much, but it was something. And Alari? She started training. She walked the halls blindfolded, not because she needed it, but to sharpen her hearing and touch. She learned to feel changes in the air, listen to energy currents, and sense people from rooms away. Her glow came easier now, sometimes soft, sometimes brighter. She still didn't understand it, but it no longer scared her. One night, while Carter slept, Ilari stood in the stellar garden again. The sounds, the warmth, the scents, they danced around her. She whispered ancient words she didn't know she remembered. Her glow brightened until it painted the walls in soft gold. From far beyond the system, a sensor picked up the signal. A ship turned toward the station, and this time, it was not from the council. It was something older, and it was coming. For her, the station was quiet again, but it wasn't peace. It was the kind of quiet that came before something big. Carter could feel it, so could Alari. The air was heavy, too still. Scanners picked up nothing, but both of them knew something was coming. Carter was working non-stop. He reinforced the ship's systems, boosted the shields, and added emergency jump drives. Blue Echo was still just a cargo hauler, but now it could run, dodge, and maybe survive a small fight. Carter didn't like violence. He preferred solving problems with tools and kindness. But now, he was ready to protect someone who mattered. More than anything else, LRE helped where she could. Though she couldn't see the parts, her fingers were careful and her mind sharp. She remembered every button, every panel, and every sound. Sometimes she guided Carter faster than his own. Tools did. She moved through the ship with quiet grace, like it was becoming part of her. On the 5th day after the council visit, Carter finally took a break and sat beside her near the window. "It's strange," he said. "I never cared about much. Before, just fixed ships, drank bad coffee, and waited for the next job. And now?" she asked. He looked at her glowing hands. "Now I care if someone takes you away." Ilari was silent for a moment. Then she said, "You gave me the stars again. I was lost in the dark, and you brought me light." Carter's face turned warm. He didn't know what to say to that before. Either of them could speak more. A soft beep echoed through the ship. Carter rushed to the console. A signal had appeared, no transponder, no ID. It wasn't council. It wasn't a trader. The ship was old, ancient, and massive. "That's not one of ours," Carter whispered. Ellery stood behind him. Her face was calm, but her glow flickered. With tension, "It's here," she said. "Whatever it is, it's here for me." The unknown ship didn't hail. It just hovered above the station silently. Its hull was made of dark metal covered in glowing symbols. No weapons showed. The power it gave off was almost like it was alive. Station Command sent a message to Carter's ship. "What did you bring here?" they asked. Carter didn't answer. A light shot down from the ship, and a figure stepped out, tall, robed in shadow-like cloth and floating just above the ground. It had no face, only a glowing circle in the middle of it. Hood. Carter and Alari watched from the ship as the figure moved toward their dock. "Should we run?" Carter asked. Doda Ari placed her hand on his. "No, I need to face it." They waited at the entrance. The figure stopped, just outside then. It spoke not with words, but into their minds. "Child of the stars, your call has been heard." Alari stepped forward. "Who are you?" "We are the wardens of the first flame. You carry its light. It is waking inside you. I didn't ask for this. You didn't need to. It chose you." Carter stepped between them. "She's not going anywhere with you." The figure looked at him, if it even had eyes. "You are her anchor. Her light glows because you gave her reason to rise again. We do not come to take her. We come to offer truth." Larry's voice was steady. "What truth?" The figure raised a hand. A small orb floated out of its palm, glowing softly. It hovered between them. "This holds your past, your bloodline, the power once lost. Touch it, and you will see." Carter looked at her. "You don't have to." But Alari reached out and touched it. In that moment, everything changed. Memories not her own flashed through her mind, bright. Stars, ancient temples, beings of light, and a voice that sounded like her own, but older. She saw herself standing in a place of golden fire, surrounded by glowing beings. They bowed to her. They whispered her name with hope. When she opened her eyes, her glow had changed. It was brighter, steadier, and her voice carried weight now. "I remember," she said. "The light. It was ours. My people forgot it. They let fear rule. The light never left us." The figure nodded. "The council will try to cage it. Others will seek to use it. But the true light must choose its path." Carter stepped closer to Alari. "What do you want to do?" She took a deep breath. "Want to be free? And I want to help others, like me, those who were forgotten, cast away, broken." "Then rise," said the figure. "The stars will rise with you." The orb floated back to the figure, and just like that, it faded into light and vanished. LRA turned to Carter. "We need to leave the station. I'll come back. But I don't want to hide. I want to move, to find more, to build something. Then we'll go," he said. They packed supplies, finished repairs, and prepared Blue Echo for long travel. As they left the station, no one stopped them, but eyes watched from shadows. Reports were sent, somewhere deep in council space. New plans began. But Ellery was no longer just a blind girl. Carter was no longer just a lonely mechanic. Together, they carried the light, and somewhere beyond the stars, others were waiting for it to return. Blue Echo drifted through space, far from the crowded systems and busy trade routes. Its engines hummed quietly, and its hull held steady through the darkness. The stars outside stretched wide and silent, glowing like candles in a black ocean. Carter sat at the pilot's seat while Alari stood nearby, her hand resting lightly on the back of his chair. It had been 5 days since they left the station. "Any regrets?" Carter asked softly. "None," Ellery said. "The farther we go, the clearer my mind feels." She had changed since she touched the orb. Her glow was no longer just a flicker during peaceful moments. Now it flowed gently around her like a soft light from within. Even in the dark corridors of the ship, she brought warmth. Carter noticed how his ship had also started to change. The panels where Alari walked seemed to respond, lighting up just before she touched them. Systems that had been slow were now smoother. It was as if her presence reached into the ship itself. "We should stop soon," Carter said. "I found a quiet moon with a small outpost. It's abandoned, but has supplies." Alari nodded. "I'd like to step on real ground again." Moon was quiet, just like the scan showed. The outpost was old, built by miners a long time ago. Wind swept across its rocky surface, but the buildings still stood strong. Carter and Alari walked side by side, carrying bags and tools. Inside one of the buildings, they found power generators, food packs, and old data tablets. Carter worked on fixing the power while Ilari explored slowly, feeling the walls and tracing. Symbols on metal panels in one room. She stopped. "What is it?" Carter asked. "This place remembers," she said quietly. "It was filled with people once. Voices, dreams. They're gone now, but the place still holds them." Carter looked around. "You feel that?" "Yes." "Like echoes in the stone." I gave a small smile. "Guess you're not just glowing now? You're hearing the past too." Ilari didn't smile back. Her face grew serious. "Carter, the light inside me is growing, every day. And I don't know what it will become. You don't have to figure it out all at once," he said gently. "You're not alone anymore." They stayed on the moon for 2 days. Carter fixed up the outpost just enough to use it again later. Ilari spent her time walking its halls and listening to the silence. Sometimes she would hum softly and strange. Lights would shimmer across the walls. On the third morning, she stood under the sky and lifted her face to the stars. "I remember more," she said. "The light in me isn't just mine. It's calling others." "Calling who?" Carter asked. "Those who were like me, hidden, rejected, forgotten. The light doesn't just glow, reaches out." They left the moon that night. Days passed. In calm silence, they traveled through nebula clouds, past ancient ruins in deep space, and avoided council patrols. Each time the ship passed through old territories, Ilari whispered soft words in a forgotten language, and the scanners would go quiet. Almost like they were being shielded. One day they received a signal. Weak, broken, but real. "Help anyone. Please, this is Vora Colony. We are under attack." Carter looked at Ilari. "It's your choice," he said. "We can turn away." Ilari stood still for a moment, then shook her head. "No, we help." Blue Echo changed course. Vora Colony was a small settlement on the edge of a dying planet. When they arrived, the sky was filled with smoke and fire. Powered ships circled overhead. The colony's defense systems were weak and damaged. Carter counted 4 enemy ships. "We can't fight them," he said. "We're just one ship." "Then don't fight them," Ilari replied. "Just get me close." He hesitated, but trusted her. All right. He flew Blue Echo low, weaving through clouds and fire trails. The pirates didn't notice them at first, but once they did, they opened fire. Carter spun the ship hard, dodging blasts. "Almost there," he said through gritted teeth. Ilari stood in the middle of the ship, her eyes closed, her glow rising. When they reached the colony's heart, Ilari opened the ship's main hatch and stepped out. Pirate ships hovered above, aiming their weapons. Ilari raised her hands. A wave of light burst from her body, silent and strong. It covered the sky, the buildings, the ships. Every weapon froze. Every engine went quiet. The pirates panicked. Some screamed. Others ran. The people of the colony stepped out slowly, staring at the glowing girl standing in front of them. "You're safe now," Ilari said gently. The pirates fled. None looked back. Carter landed the ship fully and ran to her. "Are you okay?" She nodded, just tired. The colony leader, a small man with a scar across his forehead, walked up to her. "You saved us," he said. "Who are you?" Ilari looked at the stars. "Just someone who was once forgotten, but now I choose to be remembered." They stayed for 2 days, helping repair what they could. The colonists gave them food, tools, and thanks. Before they left, a small girl from the colony ran up to Ilari and gave her a single flower. "You glow like this flower," the child said. "Don't stop glowing." Ilari smiled. "I won't." As Blue Echo left the planet, Carter looked at her. "You started something," he said. "Yes," Ilari replied. "And it's only the beginning." After saving Vora Colony, Blue Echo became more than just a ship, became a symbol. People from broken worlds started sending messages. They had heard stories of a blind girl who glowed, of a man who stood beside her, of a ship that came. With no demands, only help. Carter didn't like attention, but he didn't turn anyone away. Ilari read each message carefully. Some came from far-off systems filled with fear. Others were simple thank you notes. And a few were from those like her aliens, born with strange powers they didn't understand. The light is spreading, Ilari said softly one night. You think it's because of you? Carter asked. No. It's because someone believed. In what others forgot? Carter smiled, not saying a word, but deep in the center of council space. A group of high-ranking officials met behind sealed doors. They had watched the rise of the glow. They feared its meaning. The girl is unstable, said one. She commands forces we cannot control. It's not the girl, said another. It's the bond she formed with the human. Something old is waking and the human is part of it. Then we separate them, said a third. A plan was formed, and quiet agents were sent. Meanwhile, Blue Echo traveled to a broken research station orbiting a frozen gas planet. It was once a place of learning, now full of dust and silence. They received a distress call from inside. Carter landed the ship on the platform and stepped out with Ilari by his side. The air was cold. Machines flickered in and out of power. They moved carefully, scanning for signs of life. Over here, Ilari said suddenly. Her voice was steady. They found a locked room. Carter opened it, using old codes and tools. Inside, a group of aliens huddled together, weak, scared, and surrounded by damaged machines. Are you here to take us too? Asked one of them. No, Ilari said. We're here to bring you out. One of the aliens looked at her. You're the glowing girl? The one from Vora? Ilari stepped forward. Yes. And I came because your light hasn't faded yet. The aliens were all different species, but they shared one thing: they had powers too. Strange gifts, hidden talents. And they had all been locked away by the council. Carter helped them board. The ship Blue Echo was full, but no one complained. Warmth returned to the ship with every saved life. We need a place, Carter said. Somewhere safe. I know one, Ilari said. I saw it in my dream. They traveled to the edge of space, where a cluster of small moons circled a golden star. One of those moons was perfect. It had water, trees, and caves. No one had touched it in hundreds of years. Carter helped build shelters. Ilari helped guide the new arrivals. The small camp grew, and then it became a village. And slowly it became something more: a sanctuary. They named it Lumas, which meant light reborn in Illyri's language. Each day, more ships came. With weapons, but with hope. People came not for war, but for healing. The broken, the gifted, the forgotten. And Ilari welcomed them all. Carter worked harder than ever. He built water lines, power cells, gardens. He smiled more now. He didn't just have a purpose. He had people who depended on him. And every night, when the stars shined over Lumas, he and Ilari sat together on a high hill. You started this? He told her once. No, she said. We started it together. But peace doesn't last forever. One day, 3 ships entered the system, quiet, sleek, and cold. They didn't respond to messages. They didn't land. They only watched from above. Council ships, Carter said, tightening his jaw. They're waiting, Ilari whispered. Waiting for a moment to strike? Then we prepare. They didn't build weapons. They built shields, deep caves, and ways to escape. Ilari trained the gifted ones, teaching them to feel their power, not fear it. Carter worked on Blue Echo, turning it into a guardian of the skies above Lumas. The ships stayed for days. Then a message came. Surrender the girl. She is a danger to galactic peace. You have 1 rotation. Ilari stood in front of the camp that night. The people gathered, her glow brighter than ever. I will not run, she said. I will not hide. I am not a weapon. I am a voice. And if they silence me, they silence all of you too. No one left, not a single soul. Even Carter, though afraid, stood tall beside her. The next day, the ships moved. They powered weapons, and Blue Echo flew to meet them. Carter flew alone, faster than he ever had. He dodged blasts and circled the lead ship. He wasn't there to destroy, he was there to distract, and on the ground, Alari raised her hands. Her glow spread wide. A wave of light shot into the sky, gentle, warm, and full of memory. Not a blast, not a weapon. It's the council ships. The council ships froze, their systems locked, and then turned away. One by one, they left the system. Carter landed back on Luma's, hours later, tired and shaken, but alive. LRE was waiting. They saw, she said, not just with their eyes, they felt. He walked to her and took her hand. Then maybe, the galaxy's finally listening, she smiled. Then let's keep speaking. Many weeks passed since the council ships turned away. The stars above Luma's were calm now, shining bright every night. The moon's small villages grew larger. New homes were built from old ship parts and local stone. Crops started to grow. Laughter filled the air. The people who once hid their strange gifts now walked proudly. No one called them broken anymore. Ellery became a guide to all of them. She never gave orders. She simply listened, smiled, and offered gentle words. Her glow became a daily comfort, soft like a sunrise, strong like a promise. She still could not see with her eyes, but she saw more than anyone else around her. Carter became something of a builder and protector. He fixed systems, crafted tools, and taught the kids how to fly drones. Sometimes they called him the Spark, because wherever he worked, machines came to life. He laughed every time someone said it, but deep down, it made him proud. One evening, while sitting on the hill overlooking the village, Laurie spoke softly. There's something new in the stars. Carter looked up. Another ship? Not ships. Something else. Something bright, but not like me. Older. Carter checked the long-range scans later that night, and there it was, a group of unknown ships, glowing with golden lights, entering. Nearby systems, no transponder, no flag, just peaceful silence. At something deep in the signals an echo of the light inside Alari. They're coming here, she said the next day. The village prepared, not with weapons, but with welcome. When the ships arrived, they hovered above the planet without threat. One came down slowly, landing near the field outside the main village. The door opened. Out stepped beings of light. They had no faces, only gentle shapes like glowing cloth filled with wind. Their voices came through the air like music. We are the Starborn, keepers of the first flame. The people of Lumas gathered in silence. Carter stood beside Alari as the glowing beings stepped forward. We felt the call, the lead Starborn said. A child of light has awakened again. Alari bowed her head. I don't understand it all, but I want to learn. And you, Will, the Starborn replied. But you are more than a student now. You are a beacon, a guide, a bridge between the forgotten and the stars. They offered her something, an orb of swirling starlight. When Alari touched it, her glow changed. Once more, not brighter, but deeper. Like it now held a memory of the galaxy itself. I understand, she said softly. The light is not for power, it's for healing. It's for waking hearts. And the one who gave you hope, the Starborn said, turning to Carter, he is part of the light now too? Carter blinked. Me. You believed when others turned away? Gave her a gift no technology could match. Love, trust, and kindness. These are the roots of the flame. Carter looked at Alari. She smiled. There. Right? She whispered. The Starborn didn't stay long. They had other places to go, other forgotten lights to find. But before they left, they gave Lumas a gift, a crystal that floated in the sky and sent soft energy down to the land. Crops grew faster, sickness faded, water stayed clean, and then the Starborn were gone. Alari's role changed after that. She helped other colonies across the stars, not with armies, not with fear, but with light, words, and presence. Sometimes she traveled, sometimes she sent messages through glowing networks, and Carter was always with her. They stayed simple, despite the attention. Blue Echo, though old, remained their home. Its halls were filled with laughter, music, and the soft hum of memories. One day, a young girl from the village asked Alari, "Were you always this strong?" Alari knelt and placed a hand on her shoulder. No, I was once left behind, forgotten, even by my own people. What changed? Ilari looked at Carter standing nearby, polishing an old flight panel. Someone gave me a place, not because he had to, but because he wanted to. The girl smiled. I want to glow too someday. You already do, Ilari said. Years passed. UMAS became a legend, not just a village, but a symbol across galaxies. People came not to fight, but to remember, to learn, to feel seen, and the story of the blind alien princess who had once been thrown away now spread like fire across the stars. No one called her useless anymore. No one called her a danger. She was Ilari of the Light, and Carter never thought of himself as a hero. But those who came to Loomis always saw him as the one who made the first light shine, the one who brought her home.